Alright, what's up crip walkers and shit talkers? Welcome back to the Sammy Whammy YouTube channel. Just want to apologize for not uploading anything last night. I do have a valid excuse for it though. I didn't feel like it. But anyway, do you guys feel like Star Wars has gotten kind of boring lately? There's a lot of things going on with the franchise that I feel like is kind of ruining it a little bit. Like for example, Star Wars has been getting milked dry by Disney. Plus they're fan servicing everything. And a lot of other Star Wars media, like games and stuff, have been not very good. And other Star Wars media have also just been kind of dipping in quality lately, I feel like. Now, I'm not trying to say I'm some guy who's just completely blinded by nostalgia. I mean, maybe I am, but like, I feel like there's a rational reason behind this. Like, for example, I feel like Star Wars is trying to be way too serious now. I understand why they're trying to create such a gritty universe. But I feel like a lot of this new media and shows and movies have been focusing way too hard on trying to be bleak. One of the big things that make a lot of older Star Wars media so well loved and nostalgic is its sense of wonder and adventure. George Lucas, the goddamn creator of the franchise, has personally said that Star Wars is basically a fairy tale that happens to sit in a galaxy filled with many planets and worlds and shit like that. For example, the very first movie all comes down to some heroes trying to rescue a princess and then defeat the evil people who kidnapped the princess. And save the galaxy kingdom! Not saying it has to be a fairy tale. For example, one of my favorite things Disney has done with Star Wars is the Rogue One movie. It's basically a war movie. The only times you see supernatural powers are like the two scenes with Darth Vader and the character Chirrut, I think his name was, who was played by Donnie Yen, aka the greatest martial arts actor in modern cinema. Or at least like the 21st century. He was blind and using a bunch of spiritual fuckery he managed to like walk through the middle of a massive gunfight and not get hit a single time until he actually made it to his destination. That's what Helen Keller was like. Honestly, I don't think she's real. No hard feelings here, but I actually agree with those conspiracy theorists who think she wasn't real or maybe was faking it or maybe wasn't having as bad of a condition. But if she was real, she must have been smoking some serious Rogue One reefer. Because she had to be like a real life version of Chirrut in order to write a goddamn book. But anyway, I feel like Rogue One was an amazing thing that Disney did to the Star Wars franchise. Like, it features a lot of new characters, but it also features a lot of ones we already knew, younger versions or CGI ones. And I do think it's kind of weird and slightly lazy to just kill everyone off in the end. Like, obviously that was the best decision for them. I do think it's kind of suckage that they just all get blown up on Scarif, but whatever. Now, I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. I haven't seen any of the Disney Plus shows or whatever, just because I don't have Disney Plus and no one I know also does. So I actually just peeped a bunch of reviews and shit of it, and then made a general conclusion based on the stuff I read. One of Disney's biggest faults with Star Wars, and I've heard this from a lot of people, is a fault that every single Disney Plus Star Wars show has, is the overuse of fan service. One thing I always thought was funny is that Star Wars fans recently memed a new Star Wars character into existence named Glup-Shido. I feel like a lot of people have learned about him lately, but if you haven't, basically he's just a totally fake character. His name is weird because it corresponds with all the other goofy-ass names that a lot of the other characters in the franchise have. Basically, he's a meme character that's created to make fun of all the fans of the franchise who go absolutely apeshit when they see the most insignificant character somewhere. Oh, this guy was shown for 1 second in the Mos Eisley Cantina scene. Oh no, he showed up in this series. Why is it so coincidental that all these random people still congregate in the exact same spots? All these familiar characters keep seeing each other over and over and over again. We need new heroes to follow, bro. Star Wars has a galaxy that's filled with probably trillions, quadrillions of possible citizens who could become heroes or villains. Nah, you get the same people you've known for the past 45 years. You remember Obi-Wan Kenobi, who's been in every single piece of Star Wars character damn near? Guess what? We made a show about him, and you better watch it. Then they also have like The Mandalorian, which I don't know anything about The Mandalorian, but I think he's like a new character, maybe. I feel like it'd just be super cool to have like different factions like that we've never seen before show up. And also, why does everything have to be on such a large scale in the Star Wars? Oh yeah, because they want money. Think about this. The Star Wars universe has tens, hundreds of planets that we've seen in the series. Think about Earth. Earth has like 7, almost 8 billion people. Think about all of the lore and history, all of the big people, all the big moments and events that have happened to our planet. A lot of planets in the Star Wars universe aren't known for much. Surely one of the planets had like a planet-wide civil war or something like that, I don't know. Plus, real quick nitpick here. Why are some planets just the entirety of one biome? Like, Endor and Naboo are entirely like grassland slash forest planets. And I hate to be the guy who's like, I've got to be realistic here, but I think it's kind of annoying that like, it's impossible to have a planet like that. Now, I can understand Hoth just because it's an entire ice planet, so it's just really far away from but where are your suns at, bro? Like, how is that supposed to happen? And speaking of suns, I'm surprised that Tatooine's two suns haven't collided yet, or gravity is different, or that English is so widely known, or that there are so many humans everywhere. Oh wait, the people who made the movie got a little lazy. Now this is gonna sound weird, but I give a lot of grace to this sort of stuff. Like within Star Wars tech, I can totally understand like ships having like artificial gravity and stuff, or kyber crystals making lightsabers and the Death Star laser beams, or like the midichlorians and stuff. Because it's just pseudoscience. But I draw the line at those unrealistically developed planets. But anyway, as I was saying, like, these planets have so much history. There's gotta be some, like, planet lore going on that we could see a series about. I used to be a big-ass Star Wars nerd. I used to know so much lore wasn't even funny. And then I just completely got my knowledge erased around when I was 14. And that was around the time that Last Jedi came out. Well, it was just, like, a year after it came out, but still. Star Wars went to shit, and I stopped paying attention of it because of that. And as someone who's been a big fan of Star Wars since, like, I was 5... I feel kinda sad. I hope it's not the nostalgia speaking, but I feel like the time when Clone Wars was out and Lego Star Wars was big, the franchise was so much more fun. It was so interesting and you can immerse yourself in a lot. Sure, the prequels weren't the greatest things of all time, but hot take, they told an amazing story, they just executed it not the best. Like for film, the story doesn't really translate to movie entertainment very well, but in a realistic lore sense, it makes so much sense. Guy on a planet manipulates trade routes to become chancellor of the main galactic government, and he cheats, bribes, and illegally and legally makes his way to the top of the chain. And in doing that, he builds up an insane amount of trust and then ends up taking over the galaxy. Palpatine is one of the greatest villains of all time in my opinion. He's just a man who is a genius and could take over everything, and he became a Sith who is an absolute monster to people. Genuinely S+ tier villain, bro. One of the greatest villains of all time, no matter what media. But seriously, between the time when The Phantom Menace aired and then The Force Awakens aired, I feel like Star Wars was in a unique space. For instance, I keep on saying it over and over again, but one more time, Clone Wars was so much fun. One of the greatest cartoons in my opinion. I've seen every episode so many times. The only stuff I ever watched on Disney Plus was like the new Clone Wars related content, like The Bad Batch. My friend invited me over to his house to check it out and I actually really liked it. But it wasn't just the Clone Wars. For example, video games and toys were also dominating everything. My background gameplay right now is The Force Unleashed, one of my favorite Star Wars games ever. The series consisted of 2 banging games and it was awesome. And how could I forget Lego Star Wars? I have all 4 of the Golden Age games. Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy, Lego Star Wars 3, the Clone Wars, and Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga, all on my Xbox. I used to play them all the time and they respect an aspect of my life I think I'll never forget. The time I absolutely loved Star Wars and it was my best friend. The amount of lore I learned, the amount of fun I had. It was something I'll seriously never forget. And again, I think it's the nostalgia talking. I feel like this sort of fun era that I grew up in will never be out for a lot of younger people. The franchise was like a playground to us when we were younger. So many things to do, and even if it might not have been a masterpiece, it was still fun, and we had an amazing time with it. What do children these days have? The god-awful Battlefront games? The god-awful Lego Star Wars game? Growing up only watching these Disney Plus shows? It honestly feels like they'll never get the same experience that I got when I was younger. It makes me feel kinda sad. I don't know how to explain this in a way that makes any sense, but I feel like the prequel Clone Wars era of the Star Wars franchise was very colorful. It was cartoony, it was goofy, all the games were very pixelated and kind of primitive. What they had though was the potential to be remembered for years and years. Prequel memes have been a big part of our society for almost 25 years, and we still love playing those old Lego games in comparison to the new ones, because the new ones suck. Plus, the original Battlefront games slap. EA is just... Fun fact, EA actually stands for extremely awful. Don't Google that, I promise you I'm right. No wonder their games have been becoming awful. So what are the children today going to grow up with? What will their children grow up with? Will the entire Star Wars franchise be dead in a couple decades? Who knows? Maybe it'll even enter a fucking renaissance where they're creating masterpieces. But for now, I'd like to think we're in kind of a stagnant period. It's kind of like a heart monitor. When the original trilogy came out, the heart monitor spiked up, and it spiked for a pretty damn long time. The prequels came out and it spiked a little smaller. Clone Wars came out and it was also on a spike, but I feel like it's kind of on a flat line right now. Disney Plus has been absolutely banging it with shows, like a lot of people have been watching them and stuff, but I feel like they haven't really been coming out with anything lately. At least not anything of note, because I haven't personally heard about it. So I feel like the people working on their stuff right now are just kind of in a creative slump, or at least they're just not doing anything. And I feel like they're giving themselves time to breathe, time to come up with a cool new concept that'll actually make people love it. But, I don't know, in the end, I'm still a pretty casual fan at this point. Like, I don't know, I find myself watching the old movies every now and then, and watching Clone Wars every now and then, or, of course, playing Star Wars games every now and then, because they're fun. And I used to actually have a bunch of Star Wars books, too, like those vehicle encyclopedias that feature a bunch of cross-sections and diagrams explaining the ships, even expanded universe. By the way, real quick, the expanded universe is absolute heat. I have so many novels and graphic novels of the expanded universe that it's just so fun to read about. Also the games like Force Unleashed. I feel like Force Unleashed isn't canon because, spoiler alert, at the end of the second game he ends up turning into Darth Vader. The character in these games, which is Galen Merrick, aka Starkiller. In my lore, it's still Anakin. Like, it just doesn't make any sense, to be honest. My conclusion, Force Unleashed takes place in an alternate timeline. But anyway, the expanded universe has some cool lore. The stuff that happened to Luke and all of the characters we love from the original trilogy is really cool lore, to be honest. Luke breaks the Jedi code and gets a wife and then has a bunch of children, then creates a training academy for a bunch of young Jedi to repopulate the world with them. And then he goes on a bunch of other adventures. And while he and the Rebel Alliance start kind of reassimilating themselves into galactic society, they're tracking down and destroying any remnants of the Empire. This is my lore. This is my headcanon. In my opinion, fuck the sequels. I don't want to sound like a total nerd when I say this, but when I found out that they were making a new Star Wars movie in like 2015, I was like, yo shit, I'd love to see the expanded universe turned into movie form. That'd be so cool to make it totally official. But nah, virtually the opposite happened. All of the expanded universe lore just got totally canned. They're made useless, decanonized. Totally nerfed. Why, J.J. Abrams, you've ruined my life. First it was the 21st century Star Trek movies. The 2009 one was good, but the rest were garbage. And now I've got to blame him for destroying the main Star Wars story. Who the fuck is Rey? Or Finn? Or Poe? And again, I'm gonna cite the words of George Lucas. He said the main Star Wars saga, like the main movies, all the movies titled episodes, are about the Skywalker family. 2 generations. Anakin and Luke. So who the hell are these losers that you introduced in the new movies? Maybe they're trying to diversify a little bit because pretty much all of the main new characters are diverse and not male like Luke or Anakin. You've got a woman, a black guy, and some dude of which race I cannot identify. Maybe he is white, I don't know. I do kind of like the whole Kylo Ren bit, like he's the son of Han and Leia, and he's just kind of taken over the new version of the Empire, and now he's just some annoying man-child who doesn't know how to deal with his power. Cries all the time and he's super emotional. Basically, he's every 13-year-old girl ever. They're like, dude, he's so me. But I need to shut up about the sequels. There's some more stuff I could talk about, but I'm kind of on a time... Well, I'm not on a time crunch. It's 10:15. I got a couple hours before I start feeling uncomfortable with being awake. So I like to finish the video around here, get it uploaded, then hit the hay. Yeah. But if you like the video, you can suggest it and I'll make a part 2 or something. I don't know. But no one ever comments on my videos anymore. My videos don't get views anymore anyway. Realistically, this video was just some disjointed rant, but I hope you guys enjoyed it anyway. Basically, this is the end of the video. End of video rambling time now. So I hope you realize that this video isn't a spooky horror game like it was for the last few episodes. I know it's like Halloween time, but I feel like it's a little too late, and I'm starting to run out of funny, scary games that I can play before I have to switch to like garbage games like FNAF. And hot take, I fucking hate FNAF. It fucking sucks. Dude, the store's No, it's not. Fuck you. The games are annoying as fuck, annoyingly primitive, and you have to just rely on patterns. It isn't down to chance or skill or anything like that. All you have to do is, oh, he does this every few seconds. And the lore is your average on-the-nose family drama that's super shit. I don't know much about FNAF lore, but it's so mid. And I want to add an extra fuck you to FNAF for making horror on YouTube and the internet so awful after its inception. All people have been trying to do is mimic it. I don't know. Anyway, FNAF rant over. Let's just say I like playing games that are actually good. The game I'll probably play in the next video is going to be Prey. Prey is probably one of my favorite games of all time. I just don't like recording it very much because it's dark and scary. It's one of the few games that's genuinely scared the absolute shit out of me while playing it. Basically, it's a game about these goofball shape-shifting aliens and you have to kill them all in order to get the good ending. Which is absolute hell, but it's endlessly fun, so I'll probably use Prey gameplay in the future. But anyway, I'm just gonna shut the hell up and hit the hay, and then I'll just, like, you know, see what happens in the future, video-wise and life-wise, and I'll tell you. Notify you as usual. Why am I talking about this? I feel like you guys know the drill already. But anyway, in typical Sammy Whammy fashion, I need to shut the fuck up and end the video and do the outro. So, anyway... Oh wait, like and subscribe real quick. The channel's dead. We've only been gaining like a couple subs a day. Come on, man. Remember when I got like 53 in a day? Come on. I need to stop whining. I don't really care. I'm not really doing anything to make the channel grow. I need to shut up. Real rambly mood today anyway. Whatever. Anyway, this has been Sammy Whammy. Peace.